Good morning, everybody. Can you hear me? Oh, sorry.
Yes.
Morning, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can.
Okay, thank you. So today is the election day, right? It's a big day. Okay, so let us make our class short. So today maybe an hour should be fine for today. And as usual, let us see our schedule. So according to our schedule, we are in week 12, right? Today is November 3rd, 2020, the election day. Okay, so we will wrap up. Class and object this week. So let us finish today, and then in next lecture we will discuss. Mainly, we will review for the test 3. Okay, in the upcoming lecture, next lecture, we will review for test 3. And today we will complete class and object. So in our last lecture, I discussed how to create, how to develop a class, then how to create object, and then develop getter and setter methods. And then we discussed toString method, right? So in our last lecture, mainly I discussed this class and object declaration and getters and setter method and toString method. Okay, so I see only 18 people are here in online. So how many of you are not present in our last lecture? So then if you are not present in our last lecture, please watch my last lecture video. Okay.
We didn't have last class.
Previous class, we did not have last class. Oh yeah, we did not have last class, but as I sent you announcement that I had class. Oh yeah, due to bad weather, right? Tornado warning.
Correct.
Yeah, class was cancelled, but I had class in section 5, another 5. So the 3:30 p.m. So I recorded that lecture video and I uploaded in your section. This is the video. So please watch this video, okay? Please watch this video because I wanted to at least complete this section before our test 3. Okay, and say okay. So there will be a quiz by the end of this week, right? So quiz 7 will be by the end of this week. So I'm sorry, I got email at least from 2 students that they said that they did not know that there are quizzes. Okay, so if you look at our syllabus, I stated in the very first class that quizzes will cover 20% of your points, and this schedule was uploaded from the very beginning of this semester, right? So anyone looked at this schedule, it is clearly mentioned the quiz date over here. So, but how come that I got 2 students, at least email from 2 students, that they said they did not attend in any quizzes, and they asked for an extension for quizzes. But at this time I cannot do that because we teach in a group. This is not my call. I'm very shocked because what is my wrong? Okay, so that didn't I convey that message that there is a quiz and quizzes award 20% points for this class. Okay, so please follow the quiz. We have 3 more, just 3 more quizzes, right? I see 3 or 2 quizzes. Okay, it's fine. I thought there would be 10 quizzes, but let's see. Okay. So I cover the part 1, object-oriented programming, introduction to object-oriented programming, and there is another part, this part 2, object-oriented programming. So let us finish today this part 2. Actually, I believe I mostly covered part 2. I mostly covered part 2 before I came to this slide. So let us go here. So part 2, so it discuss about constructor, and then constructor and multiple constructors, that is overloaded constructor, and getter and setter methods. Sometimes getter method are called accessor, and a setter method is called modifier, because setter method is used to set a value. Okay, that value can be set by using constructor. Okay, but if we do not set a value of an object, then we use setter method, and once we use setter method to set up a value, then we can use the getter method to get that value. Okay, so I already discussed in my last lecture getter and setter methods and multiple constructors. We discussed in our previous lectures, and I also discussed two-string method. I will discuss two-string method today also, for especially for C++ programming. Okay, so as we discuss default constructors, so default constructor, that means if there is no constructor, then the constructor is used, is called default constructor, right? So in our last lecture, we maybe pencil class. Java, C#. CPP. So in our last lecture, if you watch this video, that in our last lecture I discussed how to declare a class called pencil class. So if you understand how to declare a pencil class, then you will understand how to declare a pen class, or then you will be able to do same thing for an animal class, a furniture class, or a computer class, or a student class, or an account class, anything you will be able to do. Okay, so what is the name of the class is not a big deal. So the main thing is that you need to understand the concept. If you understand the concept, how to design a class, then you will be able to design any class. So in your test, you will be given the name of the variables. You will be given the name of a class, then you have to develop either pen class or dog class, or maybe employee class, or student class, or account class, okay, or school class, and then you will be given name of the variables. So these are the fields. Okay, a class. So what is the definition of a class? A class is a user-defined data type. So we learned from our last lecture. A class is a user-defined data type that contains two things: some variables and some functions. These are the function. Why this is called function? So it is as, how do we know that this is a function? It has a pair of parentheses. Okay, so a class is a user-defined data type that contains some variables and some functions. These are the functions. The function that are used, this function are used to access these variables. Okay, so this is the straightforward and simple definition of a class. So a class is a user-defined data type. So we are familiar with built-in data types, right? Primitive data types. There are 8 primitive data types. Okay, so beyond the 8 primitive data types, so we can create our own data type. Okay, so that is called custom or user defined or programmer defined data type. That data type is called class. So once we create a class, then we can create an instance of that type. That is the concept of class declaration. So a class, this is the class starting point number 2, and this is the end. Line number 68 is the end in this class. So in C++, X class ends with a semicolon, but C#, and Java do not need this semicolon. So in object-oriented programming, you see everything lie between a class. So you see that this program, all codes are inside this class. Okay, and also this is the end. This is the 68 is the end of the pencil class. So pencil class start here, line number 2, and it ends in line number 68. And the main class is start in line number 71, and it ends in line number 168. So you see that there is no code outside class. So every code must be outside of a class, inside of a class, or inside a method. But two things you need to remember, that a class contains two things, right? Some variables and some functions. Okay, so your statement must be, your executable statement must be within methods, and inside the class it can be, so the either variable declaration or method declaration, nothing else. So you cannot have any statement, like this kind of print statement inside your class declaration. So this will make an error. You see, this program will not run because this is an invalid statement. So statement cannot go inside a class. What a class contains, it contains only variables or methods. Okay, so in our last lecture we discussed that, so a class contains some methods. Okay, one of the methods is called constructor, that is used to construct variable. Okay, so has a pencil is a constructor. The constructor has its name, exactly same name of his class name. Okay, exactly say, and a constructor does not have a return type or return statement. Okay, and if there is no constructor, then we will see that this is the default constructor we use, and default constructor exists if there is no constructor. Okay, but a class may contain multiple constructors. So in that case, so the other constructor will be different in terms of the number of parameters or type of parameters. This is the concept is called method overloading. Method overloading happens within a single class. That is the concept of having multiple methods with same name but different type or different number of arguments. But method overloading does not have any effect on the return type of the method. It doesn't matter. Okay, so then we discuss setrun method and gather method. Setrun method is used to set a value. So usually how do we write the setrun method? The convention is that in Java we start with s is in set, is in lowercase, set serial number. This is the camel case convention, and then we pass integer same value, that is this type. So if I want to write a setter method for serial number is integer type, so we need an argument as integer, and then we set this dot serial number equal to serial number. Okay, and the getter method it just return same type. It says serial number is type integer, so it will return int value, and then it will return this serial number. Okay, getter method does not need any argument, but setter method must need only one argument. Okay, and then we discussed in our last lecture, so this operator is used in order to assign a value to his own instance. Okay, so that means if this variable, this is the argument name, is exactly same name of this class field name, then we use this operator, this dot serial number equal to serial number. But if they are different, for instance, if S is in uppercase, I declare, so then this serial number is different than this, since this language is case sensitive. So I can say this dot serial number equal to this serial number. In that case, using this is optional. I cannot use this, I may not use this, or may use this. So in that case, this is optional. But if they are exactly same, then this is required. So this is what we discussed in our last lecture. Okay, and a constructor. Okay, so then discuss a constructor. Constructor, I discuss a lot. So how to declare a constructor. Okay, so one thing, remember that a constructor does not have a return type or return statement. Okay, so this is the pseudocode format, but when you write, then you can use equal sign instead of this arrow. You can give equal sign, no problem. So one thing that I like you to write, to practice writing class in actual code. Okay, then you will be used to please do some programming practice before your test and practice writing code, actual code, instead of writing pseudocode. So sometimes pseudocode is vague, and then you cannot declare everything in pseudocode. For instance, you see that it says class dog, and it says in class, and begin, and it says constructor the dog, and then you have to end constructor. So writing it is sometimes it's cumbersome to me. Better writing actual code is better, easier. Okay, so we discussed a class can contain multiple constructors, right? So that a class can contain multiple constructors that I showed in previous program. Those concept is called overloading. Okay, at this point, anyone has any question so far from our previous lectures? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Has anyone any question?
Not at the moment.
Actually, you really sorry. You really need to understand this, okay, and practice programming, please. Okay. So now, so let us discuss something with another class. So you say class circle. If we say circle is a class, right? So that means we are defining a new type of the circle, name circle. Okay, this is the class name circle, and as we discussed that a class contains two things, right? Some variables and some functions. So at least one variable a class needs. For instance, in order to draw a circle, we need at least 2 points. For instance, a center, okay, and a radius, right? In order to draw a circle, we need in mathematics, in order to draw a circle, we need two things. We need to know what is the center and what is the radius. Okay. So here only radius is given. So radius can be integer type or double type or float type. So we need to type that type. And then we need some constructors. If there is no constructor, then we assume that this is the default constructor is given. And we may have other constructors like another constructor circle that is will pass the radius in it. And we may have getter and setter method. So here I have only one variable, so getter and setter method can be for this radius variable. So it's a, or if I declare them as public, I do not need greater than setter method, and I may have some other methods. For at least one method I need, that is the get area. So in order to declare a class, we need two things, right? Some variables, that means we need at least one variable that is called the feature, that is used to, that is called the attribute of the class, and we need at least one method, for instance, the get area method. We may not need to have constructors, because if I do not have any constructor, then the default constructor is there, right? So in a class, at least we need two elements, one variable and one function. Remember that. So then this is the pseudocode of a class declaration. You start with class, and in pseudocode format, a wall like class in uppercase letters, and in Java and C# and C++ programming format, all in lowercase. So this is the declaration of the radius variable. So by default, they are putting 1. You can put equal sign, or you can put any default value, 2 or 2 centimeter, 1 millimeter. What do you think? Or 2 inches or 2 feet, whatever you think. Or you may keep it unassigned. And this is the constructor. Okay. Actually, there is a mistake over here. It should be like this. Constructor circle, and this is the end of the constructor, and another constructor circle. This is the constructor name, will be exactly same name of this class name. And this is the get area method, and this is the end of this get area method. And inside the get area method, you can do whatever you need, whatever you want. So there is no straightforward formula for this, that what your method will contain. The method will contain whatever you need. A method can contain no line, that can be empty, or it can contain 1,000 lines. That depends on the problem and situation. So in Java format, same thing. The previous one pseudocode format, and in C++ and Java format is exactly same like this. But one thing is that in C#, people is convention is that people write the first letter of a method with uppercase in C#, but in Java lowercase. And in C# also lowercase. C++ means lowercase. Okay, but one thing is different in C++ is that mainly in C++ you hear the name header file. A header file contains multiple class declaration. So class in C++, one thing is that it ends with a semicolon. It is required in C++, but it is not needed in Java and C#. So a class ends with a semicolon in C++. And in C++, we use this 2 colon, that is called scope operator. That means this circle class, this circle is defined in the circle class. This is a method, right? Circle method. Since exactly same name, so we will call this constructor. This constructor is defined in the circle class, and this is constructor, it is defined in the circle class. So this area get area method is declared in circle class, and it returns double like that. So this is the actual program code for a circle class. For the left side upper screen is for upper slide is for C++, C# and Java, and this lower one is C# C++ only. Okay, has anyone any question so far? So I like you to practice this programming, okay? So once we create a class, we need another class. Okay, in addition to our circle class, we need another class that is called the main class or driver class, whatever you say. Okay, in some program a terminology, it is called driver class or main class. The driver class or main class is the class that contains the main method. What is the main method? Okay, so we know that our program start from the main method, right? Our program start from the main method. Wherever I main my main method, our program start from here, right? And then the class that contains the main method usually is called the main class or driver class. Okay, it depends on the language. And okay, that is here. So the test circle, what you can say test class, whatever you say. Okay, so that it contains the main method. Okay. Okay, there is a mistake over here. It needs class begin. It needs method main. Okay. Actually begin here and begin method begin and main. Okay. So the main method it contains, it begins within, it lies within the class. Okay, so for instance, if you, this is just an object. So whenever type, here is type, right? So create circle 1 and circle 2 as circle. So it's pseudocode format. You say circle is a type. So that means whenever our type is not a primitive data type, if our type is a class type, then we call this instance as an object. So you can say equal sign over here. Yes, equal sign here. Okay, if you have any question, please ask. Feel free to ask me. Okay. So I think so. This is the class driver class in Java. So this whatever class name you can give. Okay, class name is optional. It's up to you. So whatever you can. So then this is the main method, and this is the declaration of the first object, C1 object. Okay, and this is the C2 object and C1. Then you dot. We use dot operator true in Java and C#. And most modern programming languages, we use dot operator to access the class instances, like the class property, variable, or methods. So this is in Java and this is in C#, same thing. So only one thing that in Java we write system.out.println, and in C# we use console.writeline. Okay, and in C++ it is different. Okay, so C++ people give attention please. You see that in C++ we just write circle C1. We do not need to use C1 equal to new circle. So you see that in Java and C#. Please, this is a good slide. I think this should be a good slide. Please compare how to declare an object in all three languages. You see that C#, we write circle C1 equal to new circle, and in Java it is same thing, and in C++ we just write circle C1. That means we do not need to use this new operator. Okay, and then we use same thing dot operator here. Okay, but if you want to use new operator in C++, then the concept is different. Same thing. You see that these two, one circle. This is used as a pointer. Star actually is pointer. It actually can go with this. Okay, this P2 and then C2, then C2 equal to new circle, and it is passing parameter. And then C out. Then in this case, we instead of dot operator, we use arrow operator. So there is two concept in C++. Whatever you want to use, either this format or this format, either in pointer format or in regular format, shortcut format. So C++ people, any question, especially for C++ people? Okay, now one thing we need to discuss today, that visibility of class content. Visibility means that accessibility of class content. Mainly accessibility for now, there are three kinds of accessibility: public, private, and protected. But one kind is called default accessibility. Default is means whenever you do not, when you declare a class, if you do not mention any accessible mode, you see that there is no private pub. So here this is public. Here this is public. C++ format. We use public, this colon, and let me go to with C# and Java. So here nothing mentioned public or private over here. Okay, so that means this is default. Okay, but if I want to say private, then I need to do private. If I want to make this as public, then we need to make this public. Okay, and if we do not use private or public, then it is default. Default means it is accessible within the package. So we are not discussing in depth in this course, so you will learn that later more in your 1322. Okay, and private, that means only the class itself can use it. The class own member can use it. And it is public, then any other function or any other method or any other class can use this either variable or function. So making private. So making private, it makes our content secure. Okay, but on the other hand, making public makes our content like visible to everybody. So that violates one of the important property of object-oriented programming concept, that is called encapsulation. Encapsulation, the word you may hear first time, for instance. Okay, encapsulation means capsule. Okay, at this point, actually, I like everybody to speak out. Okay, how many of you are there? Okay, at least 23 people are there. So yeah, please speak out. Okay, and I like you to. What is that? So the word encapsulation maybe came from this odd capsule, right? So we know that capsule is kind of medication. So like there are some medications or some ingredients, they are wrapped in a packet, in a capsule, in a plastic. So we usually do not eat or take or chew this kind of plastic, but with medicine we use this, right? So like for instance, when you need
Professor, you just muted yourself.
Okay, now can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So yeah, I was talking about encapsulation, one of the important properties of object-oriented programming. Encapsulation means hiding the content. Okay, so for instance, the term encapsule, it maybe came from the word capsule, right? Why do we say, when we say capsule, that means maybe an antibiotic or some capsules. So there are some medicines that are wrapped up within a plastic. We usually do not eat that plastic, but in order to maintain the authenticity or the purity of medicine, we want to ensure that the capsule is wrapped nicely and there is no leakage or break in the plastic, right? So same thing. So the encapsulation means for an object, the data member should be encapsulated in itself, okay, and there's no outside world can have accessible. So in this, from that concept, we use in programming concept the setter method and getter method. We use the setter method and getter method in order to ensure the encapsulation. The setter methods must be used to actually mainly used for private. It can be used for public or other type of members variables, but it must be used for private members. So setter method is used to set a value and getter method is used to get a value that is used to ensure encapsulation. Okay, and whenever a method or a variable is declared as private, then it is accessible only by its own method. That is the concept of encapsulation. And on the other way, if it is public, then it can be accessed by outside of this class. Mainly this is a class, pencil class, and we saw that there is another class, main class. So if we have any variable, for instance, model, okay, so if I say this one is public, then we can say, we can set up model over here. We can say, for instance, what is my main method? I can say, I can alter p1 dot, you see that I will get model. So that model is accessible over here. So model, I can change it over here. Any programmer can change it over here. So maybe Walmart or say maybe Costco brand. So making private is a violation of encapsulation. Okay, making public. So, and in C++ program, Java program, you may have defined superior, private, and public. So that is called default. Okay, the general rule is the attribute or variable and attribute are mainly declared as private, and methods are marked as public, but we may have private method as well as. Okay, now the concept, we know that how to change the private variable by using getter and setter method, right? We declare that by already discussed in the previous program how to use getter and setter method. So let me go to the slides, the remaining slides, then I will go back to my program. Okay. So the main idea, so that means again a class contains some variables and some functions, right? And then object, what does an object contain? So an object contains actual value against the variable that class contains and actual functionality or behavior that are declared against the method. So class contains some variables, so then an object contains actual value of their variables, and a class contains some methods, right? So then object performed action on those methods. And then we discuss, in order to access private members, we use modifiers or accessor, the greater than certain methods. Okay, so this is the Java code. So if you want to draw class, then in my program, so replete draw class Java C#, C++. So I have dot class declaration here in Java, in C++, and in C#. Okay, the complete programs are here. So I'm giving you link soon, okay, of these programs. So let me go to the slides. So I have complete programs over there. So this is in Java, this is in C#, and this is in C++. So in some languages, instead of this, it is used called self, like Python. Python uses self keyword instead of this. So we are not discussing Python over here. So that's good. Let me see the slides. Okay, so the another confusion is that use of this. So we use this operator, this just rabbit. So in pseudocode format, there is not this. I don't know how to write this. Maybe like this dot rabbit equal to this dot weight equal to this. In C#, maybe in pseudocode, maybe we need to use all in uppercase. Okay, so in programming concept, we use this. We use this, and let me see how many slides more. And last thing, the constructor, we discussed this, and this constructor. Okay, I think everything in these slides I already have discussed in my live programs. So now, has anyone any question?
None so far.
Okay, thank you. So now I like everybody to practice this program. I have complete programs for this. Okay, so like for instance, the doc class in Java. I'm giving a link. So at least please everybody practice this program. Okay. Please. And your test 3 will be mainly from this module. This and this. And we need pencil class. So if you understand how to declare a pencil class, you should be able to declare pen class. If you understand how to declare a dog class, then you should be able to understand how to declare a cat class, or how to declare a cow class, how to declare a rabbit class, how to declare any other class, something like this. Okay. Okay. So you see that C++, sorry, Java and C# codes are pretty similar. Okay, one thing that the toString method. So why do we use toString method? We use toString method to represent our object in our useful format. We can say useful format. Okay, so that's toString method actually defined within the object class, the higher level class in the programming languages. So, but in order to make it in our format, we need to override. That means a rewrite. Okay, in rewrite, that means a rewrite. We need to rewrite the toString method. Okay, the toString method. Okay, the toString method is okay in Java and C#. There is a difference that I want to discuss. In Java, we use @ annotation, starting with O is in uppercase, and then we write @overwrite. That means we rewrite. Okay, and then is the toString method always returns a string value. So if you have anything other than string return, then this is not a toString method overriding. Okay, remember that you must have return string method. And what is the format? It will say return, and then however you want to return, that is an entire one string. Okay, this one is a single one string. Okay, in Java, so we write this toString method in this format. Let me copy this code to C# program. In C#, it is different. So C#, you see the toString method is like in Java, our toString method is this, right? So in Java, our toString method is like this, but in C#, our toString method is like this. C#. This is the main difference. One is that in C# we use override. This is a keyword, but here in Java, override is an annotation. And then string S is in lowercase and toString 2 is in uppercase in C#. And you may have this same thing. String is same. Has anyone any question about the toString method? In your test, you will be asked to write the toString method. Override the toString method. You will be asked to write the constructor. You will be asked to write the getter and setter method. So has anyone any question about the toString method in Java and C#? So, okay. Then the toString method must be declared within the class. Okay, one thing remember that the toString method must be declared within class. So you see that this class, it starts in line number 3 and it ends in line number 75. The toString method is declared within the class. But there is a bad luck for C++ people is that C++ does not have the toString method. Okay, C++ does not have the toString method, but instead of that toString method, you can write your own display method, or usually we can override the output operator, like that is the output operator in C++, right? We use this as with cout stream. So we can override the output operator outside of the class. Okay, so you see that this operator, this codes must be within the method, but it is outside of the class. So this is that in the main dot class has ended in line number 58. You see that the dot class started in line number 4. Okay, by the way, instead of the import and then include statement, all other statement must be inside class or inside a method. In C++, you can have some code outside of class, but that must be in code enclosed within method. And this is the format for an alternative of alternative to the toString method. So C++ people. So please remember, and for now, practice this, and you can memorize this format. Okay. Sorry, I don't have any shortcut way other than this. So people who are taking C++ lab here. How many of you are taking C++ lab here in this course? And how many of you do program in C++? I'm asking your voice. Do you have any question about this? For the alternative to toString method?
I don't think anyone here has C++ as their language.
I don't know. Okay, I thought there are some people. Okay, by the way, everybody is learning at least 3 languages, right? So in case you need to practice C++ programming, I already gave you my code. Okay, that's all for today. And then if you have any question, then I'm here for the next few more minutes. Or if you do not have any question, then you can leave today. And today is election day. Stay safe. And if you are a voter and if you have not voted yet, so please vote. And it is a civic right, and you should vote in the US election.
Professor?
Yes.
When can we register for CS1322? Do you have to wait till we get the final grade in this class?
No, you can register. I think registration has started.
Well, I tried to register and then I got like a prerequisite error.
Okay, that is a good question.
Sign up for the lab and the lecture at the same time.
Yeah, I signed up for both at the same time. I still got an error.
Did you
Make sure you're
find
not picking the online class. It's closed to outside students.
Okay, I'll try again.
Okay, so yeah, so for the registration policy, I'm not sure for all the restrictions. You may contact, Ashley. You can ask Ashley. You can send an email to Ashley McClure, and
Okay.
she can, what your advisor? She is the advisor, right? You know her, right? She can guide you. I think so far I know the registration has started. I will be teaching one section in 1322. But this is the coming semester will be my last semester in teaching CS1 or CS2. I will no longer be teaching CS1, CS2. I'll be teaching higher level courses.
Professor, I'm signed up for one of your program or problem solving too. Are you still gonna be streaming with the teams?
Yes, I always do that. I
Okay.
always record all of my lecture videos. So, okay, if you even take my course or do not take my course, no matter. Okay, so then if you go to my YouTube channel, you see that I have recorded all of my lecture videos from previous. Since I have been teaching from 2018, I have all recorded video here. So 2020, if you go down, then 2019, Then if you go down, maybe 2018. So all lecture videos are here. Okay, so I like you to, if you want to go ahead, I like you, for instance, this one, this semester I'm teaching 1321 section 2. You can watch this video. So whenever you, during the semester break, you can go to this this playlist, and I like you to watch the videos not randomly but from the beginning. Okay, one after another. Do not watch video from here and there. Please watch this video from the beginning. So like this is a lecture, a series of lecture, right? If you do not understand the previous one, you may not understand the later one. Okay, has anyone any questions so far? No more question?
No.
Today is good weather, okay, but the election day, I think the environment will be good after the election. Some people are afraid that maybe there may be a chaos. I don't expect so. Okay, I'm here for a few more minutes. If you have any question, then you can ask me, okay? Okay, I think no one has any question. So thank you so much.